Okay, hi everybody. So we're going to do SPSS session 2 today. In this session, we will be covering how do we use SPSS to construct the different tables and the graphs that have been covered in chapter 2. So first of all, let's talk about how do we use SPSS to construct those graphs for one variable distribution. So we're going to use this example that we have discovered. We have talked about in chapter 2 before. This is talking about one exit poll, okay, and then you're interested in the number of elections, okay, out of the last 4 in which the individual has participated. And as we have seen, these are discrete numbers, so this is a discrete distribution, and the values ranges from 1 to 4. Okay. So by using SPSS, we can construct a frequency distribution. And remember, frequency distribution is a table that tells us the variables and their frequencies. So it's a table. Okay. And then a histogram for the data set. A histogram is several bars, right? It's vertical bars that we can construct, showing you for each variable how high the frequency that is. Okay, so in order to do that, I have already prepared a data set. And what you can do here is you see that in this data set we have variables listed. Okay. And in the first column we have the elections voted. Okay. In the variable column we have the variables as the names, elections voted. And again, this is the name of the variable. And the label here is name of election voted in the past 4 years. Okay, so you may have a question, how do we enter these data in SPSS? Okay, especially if I want to enter the raw data as we have seen in the PowerPoint. How do we enter these numbers into SPSS? So I'm going to show you that very simple step here. So once you get into SPSS, you just simply click the upper left corner of the file and hit New Data Set. So there would be a new window coming up. And this is empty sheet. And basically this is where you enter this data. And you can type in the numbers as we have seen in PowerPoint, such as 1112222 vertically. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. But if you do this only, you see that on top, the variable name is variable 00001, which doesn't match what we have seen. Okay. So you can change this in the variable view tab. So again, you can change the name into election voted. And again, recall we're going to use underscore. So in selection voted. And since this is a whole number, I can limit the decimal to be 0. Okay. And labels is number of elections voted in the past 4 years. Okay. And that is how you do this. Okay, how do you enter this raw data? And you can keep doing this, and you would end up with the data set that I have shown you in the very beginning. Okay, so once you have completed entering these data into the data set, what we need to do is we need to analyze. So we want to do frequency distribution and histogram. Okay, so just to analyze, descriptive statistics, it's about frequency, so hit frequencies. So move your variable to the right window. Make sure it's the right variable. So this is talking about number of elections that have been voted. So number of elections, move it to the right. Make sure you hit display frequency tables. Okay. In the charts is not where we pick the graph. So by default you may have histogram. If not, pick histogram. Hit continue, hit OK. And you will have an output window coming up. Okay, so that gives you the frequency distribution. This is the frequency distribution table, and this is the histogram. And once again, it tells you there are 3 people who have voted 3 times in the past. And based on the graph, it tells you the 3 has the highest frequency, while 4 times is the lowest frequency, about 2 people have voted. So that's how you do the frequency distribution and histogram. We've done some of this in week 1, so you should be pretty familiar with this. The next example that we have gone through in a lecture is talking about distribution with many possible values, and we have seen that it's not very convenient if we use frequency distributions to display each individual data. Therefore, we'll be using a grouped frequency distribution as we have seen in our lecture. So let's construct a grouped frequency distribution with 6 categories, starting at 35 with width of 5. So you guys remember we do 35 to a number and then we add 5 for the next lower limit. And we're going to come up with a table with 6 rows, 6 categories. Okay, and these numbers are about the number of women who were undergoing hormone replacement therapy, HRT. Okay. So let's see how do we use SPSS for that. First of all, we'll go back to SPSS and enter these individual numbers into the data view, and you will also need to get a variable in the variable view. Okay, so I have entered the variable as HRT as a short name for ages women for hormone replacement therapy, HRT. And we have chosen this as scale measure. Okay. Going back to the data view, I have picked these HRT. Okay. Notice that these two, when you see a ruler-shaped graph symbol in front of the variable, that means it's for scale measure. Okay. The type is numeric because we have entered numbers, and these are actually quantitative data. Okay. So if you want to do the grouped frequency distribution, it's a little bit different from what we typically do. We will need to do, first of all, we need to do transform visual binning in order to put them into groups. So let's pick transform visual binning. You will come up with this window asking you for which variable to pick. So we want to pick the age of women for hormone replacement therapy. So move this variable to the right for variables to bin. Continue. And this window is going to come up. It tells you as of now we have variable HRT, and we want to we'll try to bin this variable into different categories. So this time we need to give it a new name. We call this as HRT underscore group new. Group new. Make sure you put underscore in between because SPSS does not take space in for the variable name. Okay, so this is the current view. As of now, it would start from 38 for each category, but that's not what we want to do. We want to have 6 categories starting at 35, as we've seen in the video. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to manually change this. Okay. And we understand for the top one, we're going to exclude it. So upper endpoints exclude, not picking less than equal to. Make cut points. First cut point location is where the first lower limit is. So starting from 35, we need to fill in at least 2 fields. So let's do 35 as the first cut point, and width is 5. If you enter these 2 and pick the first one, the second one, it will automatically fill in as 6. Alright, and then let's hit apply. You can see that now it has been redistributed, the distribution. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. And these are the values for the lower limits. So 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60. Hit Make Labels, okay, and hit OK. It tells us that this new command is going to create one variable, which is what we want to have. Hit OK. So that's going to tell you this is successfully being done, being executed. So go back to our data view. If you are doing this with me, you're going to see a new variable coming up, which is called HRT grouped new. Okay, so what we need to do is let's just operate on this new variable. Actually, if you look at the variable view for this HRT grouped new, you can see the values of each group. The first group is less than 35, second group is 35 to 39, and 40 to 44, 45 to 49, which is consistent to what we have in our graph, in our PowerPoint slides. Okay? Alright, so we're going to do the same thing to this new variable. So hit Analyze, and then do descriptive statistics, frequencies. This time we're doing the grouped age of women under hormone therapy. You should have one with this symbol in front. It means it has been grouped. So move it to the right. Display frequency tables. Okay. And charts, you can also do histograms. Hit Continue and hit OK. Output tab is going to come up after computation. Alright, still going here. So we're interested in this frequency distribution. So you can see the groups are 35 to 39. There's one people during the age of 35 to 39 being prescribed hormone replacement therapy. And 6 people has been prescribed hormone replacement therapy, and those women are age 50 to 54. Okay. So that's a frequency distribution you can go by using the visual binning option. So once again, just remind you, it's from Transform Visual Binning. Okay. If you are not interested in that visual binning and not interested in frequency distribution, if you're just interested in histogram, what we can do is we can go to the raw data, HRT, and do Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then Frequencies. Operating on the raw data, which is going to be a raw variable, so ages of women. And you hit Charts, Histogram, Continue, and uncheck Display Frequency Tables for this ungrouped variable, which is the raw data. Hit OK. What this is coming up is not like what we have here, because we need 6 categories, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. While over here we have a bunch of individual ones. Right? That's not what we want. So let's see how do we change its look to 6 categories for the frequency distribution. Okay, what you need to do here is we need to edit this graph. So if you have this table, this graph in front of you, simply hit this table 2 times, hit this graph 2 times. That's going to activate the chart editor. Chart editor is where we're going to change its look into 6 categories. So we go to Elements. Oh, my bad. Go to Options. We're trying to bin those elements again. But first of all, it shows unbin element. So we want to unbin element. That was going to give you this output. Let's close that window. And then keep bin element. And this is where you're going to change the interval, how many categories, and the widths.